in charge in November. So the standoff continues, the war of words, but we should see some movement on it at least by the end of this week. Contessa?
And I know, Patty, that the vice president goes to this Senate policy lunch every week. It seems today the vice president may actually talk a little bit about this war-fighting bill. Can he make any headway with lawmakers that the president hasn't already made?
Well, you know, the vice president right now, one of the biggest goals is keeping the Republicans in line underneath this president, because the Democratic policy here, and what they're trying to see happen, is that if they can keep this debate going and they can turn public opinion enough, they can get some Republican lawmakers to defect, and then they could override the presidential veto. At least that's the Democratic strategy. So from the White House here, they're going to try and keep all of those Republican members in line behind the president, sort of tying up the Democratic leadership's hand in Congress.
Patty Culhane, thank you very much, Patty. Two radio shock jocks in New York City have been suspended by CBS Radio for a racially charged prank, a phone call to a Chinese restaurant. The hosts of The Doghouse with JV and Elvis, Jeff Vanderglift and Dan Lay, have been suspended indefinitely without pay. The segment aired one day after Don Imus's comments about the Rutgers women's basketball team. And in the wake of that controversy, hip-hop mogul Russell Simmons is calling for a cleanup of rap. He wants 3 racially and sexually offensive words out of music. James Peterson is a professor at Pennsylvania State University, a hip-hop scholar. James, great to talk to you today.
Good afternoon.
All right, so first Don Imus was fired by both NBC and by CBS Radio. Now these two shock jocks in New York suspended indefinitely. Is this because they work for CBS, or is it perhaps the way of the future?
It's the wave of the future. I think what's happening is the public is developing a zero to little tolerance for this kind of language in the public sphere.
I know that Russell Simmons is now calling for rap music to be cleaned up. He doesn't want people to use the N-word. He doesn't want them to use those words hoe and bitch. So how much influence does he really have, though, with these rappers?